There are many cheap and underrated items on Hypixel Skyblock, and I'm going to be going over some of them and comparing them to other more standard weapons or items to tell you how good these items actually are and if they're worth the money. This is going to be going over some common things that happen with the new updates and some more less common things. Speaking of, there is a challenge for you guys. This is going to be a hard one, but also has a giant fucking reward. If I am somehow able to get 20,000 subs by the end of this month, which probably is not going to happen, I will give you guys 300 million coins in a face reveal. So, good luck with that. I don't think you can do it. Hence why there's a lot of stuff on the line. Prove me wrong. I dare you. Either way, what are we going to be comparing? Well, first up, we're going to have Giant Cleaver versus Livid Dagger. Giant Cleaver recently got buffed. Then we're going to be comparing Aspect of the Dragons to the new Void Sword that was added with the end update. Then we're going to be taking a spin on Reforges and comparing the Renowned Reforged to Ancient, especially because the Renowned Reforged is, a lot cheaper now. And if we look at the price, it's 800,000 coins instead of like the 10 mil it used to be. Finally, we're going to be comparing the Mender Crown to the Reaper Mask, tell you what actually is better in and out of dungeons. So I hope you guys enjoy. Good luck on the challenge. Let's get into it. Alright, so now for the next test. This is actually one that I find super interesting. Livid Dagger versus Hyper Cleaver. Sorry, not Hyper Cleaver. Giant Cleaver. So with the levels update, the Juju nerf, whatever you want to call it, they also changed a few things. One of the things that got really unnoticed was the Cleaver. All of the Cleaver class items got buffed pretty heavily, might I add, and no one's really been talking about them. So, as per request, I decided to compare the Cleaver to other weapons, such as the Livid Dagger. Cleaver is an item that you can get from the Dungeon Hub, so if we go look at there really quick, there's like 4 different variants of upgrades you can buy, each one of them getting, progressively more expensive. We've got the Super Cleaver, got the Hyper Cleaver, and we got the Giant Cleaver coming in at the end. Its ability isn't too spectacular, but it actually has some pretty decent stats. So first, let's go over this compared to Livid Dagger. First, these are both the same thing. They both have hot potato books. They are both fabled. They both have pretty much the exact same enchants. Let's go over stats. Livid Dagger has 270 damage. Giant Cleaver has 300, so it's winning in damage. Livid Dagger has 166 strength. Giant Cleaver has more. Crit damage, Giant Cleaver also has more. Of course, though, Giant Cleaver is missing the Livid Dagger's ability of the attack speed and crit chance, although crit chance doesn't really matter that much, so it's not hard to get. Now first, let's do a base damage comparison. I'm going to be using Frozen Blaze with the Blaze Pet. It's the most fair comparison I can do. Giant Cleaver, we've got 126 damage. Check it again. Looks like we averaging on the low 126 to 130,000 damage. So 126 to 130. Check Livid Dagger. Livid Dagger hitting for 116. Alright, that's not looking great for Livid Daggy. 109. Oof, yeah, this isn't looking too hot. So it looks like we're doing around 110 damage to Livid Dagger, and obviously 130 with Cleaver. So Cleaver is doing more damage. Now obviously there is things to compare here. Mainly being Livid Dagger's backstab and its bonus attack speed. Now because of Cleaver's ability, I'm just going to cancel out the abilities. Personally, I think they're around equal. I don't find that I use backstab that much, and Cleaver having its extra ability of cleave isn't bad by any means whatsoever. It's just not spectacular either. So the abilities I'm just going to cancel out. This leaves the Livid Dagger with plus 55% attack speed, which to be fair is a good amount of attack speed and can make a big difference. But now let's go compare this into dungeons and see if it's any different. Alright, so now we're in a floor 7. I'm equipping the Berserker. I'm going to Hyper Cleaver and Livid Dagger. So it should do more damage logically. Livid Dagger, we've got, what was that, 5.4? 3.1 is the lowest I've seen. Yeah, so we're looking about 3.2 million damage on the low, while this guy we're looking at 3.7. Yeah, we're looking about looks like 3 to 4 million damage with Hyper Cleaver compared to the 3.1. Yeah, 3.6 to 3.8 compared to the 3.1 or whatever it is. So in pretty much every regard, Hyper Cleaver is better. It does more damage in and out of dungeons. It is cheaper, and if you have it optimized for attack speed, it still does more damage. So I honestly highly recommend using a Hyper Cleaver. Now there is only one pretty big downside to the Hyper or the Giant Cleaver. Main issue being, it requires a lot more. Livid Dagger, you don't need much, just a 4-5 completion. However, in order to get the Hyper Cleaver, you need Catacombs 28, and you need to beat floor 7. So that's actually a pretty high number for a weapon. But if you do have the requirements, Giant Cleaver is the better weapon to go for. If you don't, Livid Dagger is still good. Either way, on to the next one. Alright, so now I'm located in the end. This is going to be a test out the aspect of the dragons, the Fabled Sword, and I'm actually going to compare both of these to the Livid Dagger just as a, stable test. But we're going to be testing the Fabled Void Sword, the aspect of the dragons, and the Livid Dagger. There's a few reasons for this. One, Fabled Void Sword is a different and new sword added to the game. What it does is, it basically speaking, gives you more strength, more pieces of end armor or equipment you're wearing. And it costs you 200k. So people are kind of wondering right now, is this worth it? Like, does it do more damage to Aspect of the Dragons? What is it comparable to? That's what we're going to test it out. Now, why are we comparing Aspect of the Dragons? That is because of the Dragon Fuse Glove, which is now an equipment that grants the Aspect of the Dragons to do a lot more damage. So we're going to be comparing these. First off, both of these guys are pretty maxed out. They've got Fabled, as juiced up as they can go, and chance of that going way over the top. And we'll be doing this 2 tests. One with end armor and end equipment, favoring the Void Sword, and then one favoring the Aspect of the Dragons. First, let's go with this. As you can see, we have full sets, where we're getting 160 bonus. Off rip, already when we have the max possible setup. If you notice, the stats are still worse, so it's not looking too great already. So first, let's do a damage test. With Tiger Pet, we are doing what looks to be around 52,000 damage base. As to the dragons, 110,000, 113,000, 107,000. Not even close in comparison. Fabled Void Sword is not nearly as good. Legitimately, it is doing so much less damage, and this is with the best possible setup for this gear. Now, ironically, you can also just use like a better set of armor and it'll do more damage. So establish the Fabled Void Sword is bad. But how about the Aspect of the Dragons? How does it actually stack up compared to the Livid Dagger? Well, let's test that. First off, we're going to be doing a test with Crimson. This is, keep on, going to be without the Dragon Fuse Glove. This is without the glove. So without the glove, the Livid Dagger is doing 125,000 damage base. Yep, 125,000 damage base. You can see 5-star hot potato booked. Now time for the Aspect of the Dragons. I'll actually need a hot potato book this thing really quick. So now time for fun clicky noises. You guys ready? It would be a satisfying noise if there wasn't such a loud noise from the dragons coming in. Like, holy. But now these are actually equal because they're both Fabled, 5-starred. They both have pretty much everything you need. Yeah, 120 to 130,000 damage with Livid Dagger. Keep in mind, no glove. As for the dragons, we're doing 130,000 damage base. So already we're doing more damage with the Aspect of the Dragons 5-star than we are with the Livid Dagger, which doesn't really make sense in my opinion. The off-rip Aspect of the Dragons is already doing quite clearly more damage than the Livid Dagger, which is wild. But now let's actually put the glove on, and with the glove on, Aspect of the Dragons is doing 100 and what? Looks like 160,000 damage is what we're looking at. Yeah, 160, anywhere from 160 to 180,000 damage, I can't quite tell. But 160 to 180,000 compared to Livid's 130,000. So Aspect of the Dragons claps Livid outside of dungeons. But now let's actually test inside. Alright, so in dungeons, I've got myself a Blaze pet with Frozen Blaze. We'll be comparing Livid Dagger to Aspect of the Dragons. Currently, I do have the Dragon Fuse Glove on. So Aspect of the Dragons looks to be doing around... That was weird. Oh yeah, it was that guy. Lowest damage I'm seeing is 2.4, so it looks like 2.8 to 3 million coins. Damage. While Livid Dagger is doing 2.1, so it's doing similar damage. Inside damage. Actually, it's doing less damage inside dungeons. The lowest number I've seen is a lot lower. So Livid Dagger is doing less damage inside dungeons than Aspect of the Dragons, which honestly is insane to say. I can't believe I'm saying that. The Aspect of the Dragons is dealing more damage than Livid Dagger inside of dungeons. However, of course, this is not including back hits and bonus attack speed. If you're doing dungeons, Livid Dagger is the better option. However, if you're early game, Aspect of the Dragons is an insane weapon. It's so cheap, and it, obviously, as we can see, can outdamage a Livid Dagger, or at least compete with a Livid Dagger in terms of DPS. Alright, so first test we're going to be doing is with Ancient compared to Renowned. We're going to be comparing prices and all that sort of stuff, health, damage, stats, all that good jazz. So first, let's compare when we have it on. You can see we have 2,146 health, some defense, 707 strength, 651 intelligence, just all those stats above. And with a sort of bad health, don't judge me, okay? I'm a mage. We do 76,000 damage on base hit. This is with Ancient, keep in mind. Now, let's go and swap to Renowned. Now, Renowned has actually gotten a lot cheaper. It's now at 2 million coins per instead of what it was beforehand, which was a lot more. But I'm just going to insta-buy it, which I'll probably regret doing. And we are going to reforge it to Renowned, which this does cost a lot more money. I need to preface that. This costs a lot more money. But now, let's put it on and compare the stats once again. Alright, first, starting off with health. Renowned gives you 30 more health than it does Ancient. It gives you 6 more defense. It gives you 10 less strength, 4 less intelligence, 2% less crit chance, 20% less crit damage, a lot more bonus attack speed, like 7. That's actually a pretty hefty amount. And of course, in addition to that, it gives us a lot more ability damage. So if you're mage, it's better. But so Renowned overall gives you better health stats and better overall stats, but it has less damage stats. So now let's go compare the damage. But with damage, we're doing 73,000. However, of course, you then have the added stat bonuses, such as, you know, Pet Luck, Magic Find. You have that stuff going for it. We do less damage with Renowned, but you have slightly more health and slightly better overall stats. So now, here's the big question. Is Renowned worth it? Should you buy it and put on your armor sets? Personal opinion, depends on what you're actually using this armor set for. If you're using this for dungeons, I'd go with, obviously, Ancient. If you're using this for something like, I don't know, Diana, I would definitely go with Renowned. If you're just planning on generally using it, but not inside of dungeons, if you have the money for it, Renowned isn't a bad idea, because it gives you more blend of stats, increases all your stats instead of just increasing one. Now, if you do plan on using Renowned on your pieces, I do recommend you do something. This very simply is use your Dragon Essence on the upgrade for, whatchamacallit, this. For Renowned and Spiked to add more attack speed to your gear. Now, it is pretty expensive, but if you can do it, you can get a lot of attack speed. For the average player, Ancient is still better. However, for those endgame players looking to get a good blend of everything and relying on Magic Luck, Magic Find, Renowned is better, especially because it is no longer as expensive as it once was. So now, let's go on to the next thing. Alright, so now for our next comparison, we're going to be comparing Reaper Mask to Mender Crown, which is actually a very interesting comparison that not a whole lot of people think about. But what are these two things? These are both items that are used to boost healing inside and outside dungeons. So first, let's compare. I have two of them right here. They have the exact same everything. They both have growth prot. This one has mana vamp, but that doesn't affect anything. They're both 5-star. They're both all that stuff. First, let's go over base stats. If I was to wear the Mender helmet and I check my EHP, we're going to see I have an EHP of 8,700. If I go and equip my Reaper Mask, and we go check our stats, we see we have an HP of 10,300. So Reaper Mask off rip does give more health or more EHP than the Mender Crown. However, let's compare the healing. Now, healing recently got changed with the mending and vitality stats. Now, what do each of these stats do? Well, if you look in the stats menu, we can just read. Vitality increases your incoming health regen, and yada 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 yada. Vitality increases your incoming health, healing. So this means if I use like an ornate zombie sword or florid sword, how much health I'm going to get. Mending is how much healing I deal to other people, which doesn't really make sense, but let me explain. Vitality is basically how much I heal myself. So I was to use a zombie sword and heal for 100 health. If I equip something that has 100 vitality, I'm then healing for 200 health. Makes sense, right? And then if I heal someone base for 100, and then I have a equip an armor piece that has 100 mending, that person then gets 200 healing instead of 100. So it makes sense. But how do these stats actually differ? Well, first let's look at Reaper Mask. Reaper Mask, it has a bunch of useful stuff, including doubles your mending and your vitality when wearing. However, it does not give you any base. This means, for the most part, you're going to be able to do double damage or double healing to people around you, and you yourself will receive double healing, for the most part. You could have some crazy setups to capitalize off vitality, and you can get a lot higher. But for the most part, this means you're just going to double however much you have. This stays the exact same inside dungeons. Inside dungeons, you only heal for that exact same amount. Now let's look at Mender Crown. Mender Crown has a base stat of mending at 100, meaning off rip, even if you use it outside dungeons, every single time you use your zombie sword or whatever, you're healing someone else for 200 instead of 100. But you also gain 100 mending and 100 vitality while in dungeons. In dungeons, Mender Crown is infinitely better. Here's why. Vitality gets increased by 100. That means you double healing to yourself. That's great. Your mending gets increased so much. With Reaper Mask, you only have an additional 100 mending. When in dungeons, at least for me personally, I have an additional 450 mending, meaning I heal someone for 450 instead of 100, while the Reaper Mask only heals for 200. Inside dungeons, the Mender Crown is better for healing other people for the healer class. However, it does provide less HP. Outside of dungeons, Reaper Mask is 100% the way to go, but inside, Mender Crown is the better option. Either way, on to the next one. Fun fact, there was no next one. Yay, video's over. Great. Woo, clap, clap. Alright, so just a quick recap. Livid Dagger is actually kind of bad compared to some other weapons. Like, I don't know how Asp of the Dragons and Giant Cleaver outdamage it. Kind of doo-doo, not gonna lie to you. It's still good, but, like, it's not as good, you know? Mender Crown and Reaper Crown are kind of... They can be used in different situations. And renowned good. Yay. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy and subscribe. Also, make sure to go check out my other series, Flipping from 0 to a Billion. Yeah. Still, I highly doubt you guys are going to be able to get the 20,000 subscribers in a month. If you do, I'll be shocked. No sub-botting, by the way. God, why does the server need to restart? What did I do to you, game? What did I do? Alright, either way, well, yeah. Peace.